Hey guys, how you doing? It's your boy cyberrascal, back again for another video. Tonight I thought I would spend some time doing a bit of salvaging, as funds are a little bit low. I'm currently suffering from the salvaging bug, and it means that in my case I've got no salvage contract showing in my contract manager at all. We have a quick look. Yeah, nada, nothing. Don't know why. I think it's a bug with the game. I'd assume that they'd taken them out at some point for some reason, but it turns out everybody else has got them, and a select few of us don't for some reason. I do have the unverified ones. And there's a couple of good bits there. There's actually the Hammerhead cleanup. That's probably worth taking, actually. That's yeah, that's a full load and some. So let's accept that one, seeing as it's such a rare opportunity. Also been suffering from a few other issues today. My ship just completely lost complete control of its faculties and started flying around my hangar. And yeah, that didn't end well. But yeah, I think we finally solved that. So attempt number 2. Let's get out there and do some salvaging. I really just want to show you how I do it. I'm sure there's some experts out there that will probably tell you different. But so far I've been successful with these methods. I've earned good money with these methods. And yeah, if there's people out there that see that I'm not doing something that I could be doing, feel free to mention it in the comments. I'm always looking to get better at it. So yeah, let's go and see what we can earn. I'll show you at the end of the session what we make. And it's normally somewhere in the region of 400,000, 500,000 credits, sometimes a bit more. Depends what we get up to. Still got control of my ship, so that's a bonus. Right, with the unverified missions, obviously security turns up after a while. So yeah, you've got to fill up, get a full load, and then if you can, come back and finish it off before they turn up. They do seem to have been turning up fairly quickly in here, in this version. I think they actually turned up a wee bit early last time I did this mission, which can spoil the fun. But I usually get a full load done.
Thank you, and please visit again. Thank you, and please visit again.
But there are a number of bugs going on at Orison at the moment. No, we're going backwards. Now we're going forwards. To be honest, I'm very much looking for the next update, as are I think a lot of other people, just in the hope that some of their game-breaking bugs will be fixed. You know, a lot of people out there don't even have access to their personal hangars at the moment, which apparently is a known bug. So if you are being caught out by that one, yeah, there's lots of people dealing with that. I think we have got a little bit of a wait for the next patch to come out. So yeah, it's probably going to be, is it 2 or 3 weeks, I think they're saying. It's hard to know really. I mean, it's in Evocati now. Might come out earlier than that, but most people are saying it's coming out with either IAE or CitizenCon or something like that. Very much looking forward to getting my hands on a Zeus. Yeah, I really like the Zeus. Could be a new daily driver, that. Currently have the Vulture fitted with 2 braid scrapers and never use the tractor beam that you get as factory, always replace it. Might be some of you out there that like it. Personally, I can't stand it. And having the 2 braid scrapers is a bit of a bonus for getting through ships that are large. I know it's not as efficient as the cinches, but the cinches just take so long. In the case of this bad boy, we need to get it done. Another annoying bug we've got. That noise. It's just what we need. Another annoying noise to deal with. Yeah, there's some stuff going on at the moment. Noise is super annoying. Why you make noise? Focus on a target. Go away. Ah. Obviously needed to finish its thing. Peace and quiet as space. So therapeutic. Right, where were we? I tend to not use the gimbals for this. I also use the mouse and keyboard just for that added accuracy. I know some people are die-hard stick users for this, but I do actually find it harder on the flight stick. For those new to salvaging, it's M on the keyboard to get your salvaging arms out. Right mouse button to change from the cinches as a pair to the abrades if you've got the second abrade fitted. If not, obviously it will select one tractor beam on the left and one abrade on the right. Personally, my advice is go to a place and get a second abrade. They're sold in multiple locations. As yeah, it just they're not quite as efficient, but they do the job a lot faster, and it's the best balance. Obviously, there's a third head called the trawler, which is the least efficient one of them all, but covers the most surfaced area. So I suppose if you had an absolutely enormous ship, there might be a use for that, but yeah, I like the abrade. Good sort of middle of the road option. Left mouse button is to activate the scrapers once you're in the scraper mode. Then you're off. You can see the scraping rate, those at the bottom of those two circles in the middle of the screen. You want that number as high as possible. I tend to sort of hover around 4 or 5 on a ship like this. Some of the smaller ships will get a lower number because they just don't have as much meat on the bone. You don't want to get too close. If you hit a ship, then it'll start rotating, and you can also damage your scrapers, I've found. And you don't want the ship to be moving when you're trying to do this. So get close, but not too close. You can see the filler station is slowly filling up. Once that gets to 13, we're going to have to go and empty and then carry on scraping. 49 minutes, 33 to go before the baddies turn up. So you don't want to take too much time doing this. Ideally you want to scrape it all, but if you can't, you can't. You can potentially offload the RMC at Yella. Not that I've tried, but apparently you can store it there and then zip back here. Should probably be quicker than going back to Orison or Seraphim Station. And then you can come back in a cargo ship and collect it afterwards. Personally, I'm all about the fast money and tend not to bother with that. I go and dump it at Orison, and then if I can get back and finish off, then I do. If not, I just move on to the next job. But you don't often get this in the unverified contract. It pops up every now and then. So I'd say that when it is available, it's an easy scrape. It's a good way to get quite a lot of money very quickly. I mean, the Vulture is literally a money printing machine. And so far, every ship I've got has been paid for by the good graces of the Vulture. Some people may find this utterly boring. My opinion tends to vary day to day. Some days I'm in the mood for it, some days I'm not. You know how it is, some days you just want to blow stuff up. I mean, for me, mainly because I didn't partake in any of the PTU stuff for this patch. I've been getting acquainted with all the new updates. Like the new persistent hangers, which I love. so I haven't really been doing much. I've also been testing out the cargo. Oh, just worth noting, you can see my box around this section on the ship's gone yellow. This is for new salvages. That shows you your progress on the section of the ship. Ideally you want it to go red, but seeing as I've only scraped the top half, I'm kind of like 50% of the way through this section. I think if I manage to scrape the sides and the bottom half, then it should go red. Which signifies that you've cleared enough from that section usually. Once the percentage in the top right hand corner gets to 0, your mission will be complete. And you'll then get paid the 10,000 or whatever it was for doing the job. So you get 10,000 on top of whatever you get for the RMC, I think it is. You also want to keep an eye on your radar, because you can get people come out of nowhere and ruin your day. Doing the odd ping's also beneficial. Sure, you can see why a lot of people refer to this as Power Wash Simulator. It's yeah, kind of like that. All I say is just think of the money. A lot of people watch Netflix while they're doing this. I think once they progress this mode a bit further, it'll be more fun. Salvaging of components and things is still a bit weak. But as we move into the next patch, there's going to be a lot more value to components, I think. Especially once we get into 4.0, if we actually ever get that far. I could be an old man by then. Yeah, there should be more value in the salvaging of components. I mean, even to keep and repair for yourself, to use as spares. Because on the smaller components, you're going to be able to swap them out when they get damaged. I think a lot of us will be carrying spares of various components. I think as a result, there may be some kind of unofficial resale market going. Although it would be really nice if they'd hurry up and get an official one going. Great if we had some kind of an economy system of some kind that was official in some capacity. I think it's coming though, eventually. And if you've got any questions about salvaging that I might be able to answer, I'm more than happy to answer if you want to put them in the comments. Always more than happy to help anybody that I can help in the game. I've managed to learn a fair bit in my time playing. The countless hours I've given up in my life watching YouTube content. But I mean, there's a lot of nasty rumours going on about starcitizen and things. I don't think anyone should put too much stock in them. Personally, I really do enjoy myself playing this game most of the time. It has its moments where it really makes you want to yeah, punch your chair, shall we say. But they're quite rare. And most of the time I'm having a good time. There's things that this game offers that, from my experience as a gamer, I've not really found any other titles that do offer that, or this, should I say. It's quite a unique experience. And for me, I'm more than happy to accept the bugs here and there, given that it is an alpha. I do kind of enjoy being involved in the testing process to a degree. I think it's nice that the community has a say in how the game turns out. Obviously we can't all have all the things that we want all of the time, but I think the vast majority of us end up with a lot of the things that we like in the game or want. I think that CIG are learning from things in the past, and the more they communicate with us through the various methods, you know, the more they learn. I do honestly often wonder though how much time they actually spend playing the game. I know some of them do, but I don't know. I could be completely out of line by even suggesting that they don't play enough, because I'm sure some of them do play a lot, but it does make you wonder. You don't often see people, not that you would know if you saw people from CIG playing the game, but I just thought they would play in more of an official capacity at some point. I think maybe they'd have their own org or something like that, at least for events, or you know, players versus CIG events would be awesome to have. I just think it'd be nice to know, or nice to see them in the game once in a while. They did say that they were going to make Grim Hex their base, but well, I don't spend that much time hanging out at Grim Hex, so I couldn't say, but don't know, just you don't really hear much about it from anybody. There also seems to be so many people that play this game for such a long time and that are particularly good at it. I don't just mean the sweaty PvPers, as they've become known as, in their white sperm suits, but there's a lot of people that know an awful lot about this game. There's a channel that I follow run by a chap called Astromani, and I swear sometimes that there's literally nothing he doesn't know about this game. Doesn't matter what question anybody asks him, he seems to know the answer. So yeah, if you want to learn huge amounts about this game from somebody that knows everything, go and follow Astromani on Twitch or on YouTube or both. Because I can guarantee you, whatever questions you have, he'll definitely be able to answer them. I've learned a huge amount from him over the time I've been following him. He's a good guy as well. Does lots of giveaways that are worth being around for as well. He's also a pretty damn good pilot, especially with the big ships. But yeah, I think he deserves more followers because he makes good content. Not that he's going to get more followers through me suggesting it on my channel with my 2 subscribers. But yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. You are one of the lucky few that's watching this. You know what? My filler station's been full for God knows how long, and I've been prattling on. I didn't even notice. What a humongous waste. Sorry, I get carried away sometimes. My mind was massively elsewhere. But that's the thing with scraping, is you kind of end up in a different world when you're doing it. So I probably just lost half of what I had. So yeah, first rule of scraping, always bring a multi-tool with a tractor beam attachment. But there are ways to create them in this ship. You can print them. Craft them, should I say. Yeah, if you go into the craft section on there, you can craft all sorts of stuff. Only little things, but useful things. But it comes out the RMC that's stored in your ship, so it uses quite a lot. So it's, yeah, better to remember. Let's bring one with you. Second rule of salvaging is always bring several bottles of cruise with you. For those that are new, cruise is a drink, and it also replenishes thirst as well as hunger. Whereas water and other drinks tend to only replenish your thirst. Third rule of salvaging is that use every last bit of space you can. Used to have issues with ships exploding if you got the death rattle, but I've been doing it this way for quite a long time, and I've never had an issue exploding. Saying that, the way my luck's been going tonight, it'll probably happen tonight for the first time. But yeah, let's hope not. So basically you have no cargo grid on this section of the ship. For those who don't know, you've only got it on this section of the ship. Which, given that you've got two entrances, is kind of silly, really. Hey. You got any more there? I just want to see you. Think it would spit it out? Some of it must be construction materials. So yeah, let's go back and try and pay a bit more attention this time. And not get carried away with game dribble. "32 minutes left." I do think that Pyro is going to be interesting though when it comes out. No idea what to expect there. Kind of been trying to avoid Pyro content. I like to make my own mind up about these things when they happen. So many spoilers as well. Star Citizen updates are kind of like new movies. Always better when you know nothing about them at all and you get a nice surprise. She's a big girl, it's only 67% of the way through. I think this is probably enough for 2 vultures to go to town on it. There's a lot of nooks and crannies on it there as well that you have to get scraped. Yeah, no, I'm not sorry that I wasted a bit. So we get it all scraped before that timer goes, you get an extra 10 grand. Although I probably burnt that in waste anyway. But still. Money-wise, I pretty much spent all of my money recently. I did have several million, and then I got a bit doe-eyed over some of the ships. Been wanting a C1 for quite a while, so I bought one. The thing with this, I mean, any new ship that comes out eventually will be available for in-game monies. You don't need to buy anything with real money. Anyone that says that you do is basically lying. You can get in this game, I think, sometimes for as little as £35 or whatever that is in dollars. You get some amazing deals sometimes. And I think, as everybody I'm sure is more than aware, any game that you get to buy into these days for that money is a bargain. Look at what Call of Duty costs, anything like that, often way more than that. And I've been playing this game since 2014, a large percentage of which was for my initial investment of $40. I had years and years of gameplay and bugs for $40. But I played a lot of games, a lot of friends, had a lot of good evenings, had a lot of laughs. And that's what we're here for, really. Yeah, you either enjoy it or you don't. If you enjoy it, then awesome. If you don't, put it down. Write it off to experience. Go and find something else to do. Something else to play. I definitely don't think it's a cult. I think the community behind Star Citizen's pretty awesome. Kind of had a bit of a reminder of that this morning. But yeah, I mean, anyone that I've spoken to or communicated with in the community, it's always been awesome. You know, if you're a new player and you're stuck, you need help, you need a lift. I wouldn't suggest pleading them for money. That does get a bit old after a while. But yeah, I've seen people, you know, give away money. I've seen people do all sorts. Community behind this game is awesome. And it's worth, you know, it's worth the $40 just to be part of that community, in my opinion. Yes, it does have some bad actors, but yes, so do all communities. But I'd say 95% are good people. And it's becoming a good game to play with your own friends as well. I mean, it's really designed to be a multiplayer, as they keep drumming into us. I tend to do a bit of both. Sometimes I play on my own. People around, play with them. It's very easy to join anybody you want. It's often people looking for people to help with their multi-crew ships. I'm more than happy to have you on board. Need to keep an eye on that filler station. Should have like a warning bell that goes off when it's full. "23 minutes left." Come on. Only halfway through the scrape. I think there's a very good chance we'll get caught with our pants down here. In fact, just as a precaution. It's good to have your escape plan. Ready to go. So when you gotta go, you can go. They tend to turn up in 2s and 3s as well, from what I've seen. Obviously no match in my Vulture. Although I'm starting to think it would be nice if we had less pointless guns on the Vulture. I think if you're going to put guns on a ship, that they shouldn't be completely pointless. It's always going to beg the question is, why are you putting guns on the ship if you can't really use them for anything? I mean, short of having a fight with another Vulture, I mean, even the best of pilots struggle to pull that off. I mean, a pair of size 3s would be nice. So you can give the other guy a bloody nose before you die. Although I think the Vulture is getting more shield. I do think the industrial ships need to be better protected, just so that you can take enough hits to be able to escape with the wonderful new master modes. I've had a couple of run-ins while I've been doing these scrapes, and by the time I get into nav mode, I'm dead. Well, by the time it's spooled up on the target, I'm dead. Right, filler station is full again. Also ignored it again. At least make sure we leave with a full load. I think we will. Give me one more. There we go. That's pretty much all she wrote. Can sometimes get another stack here, but it's a bit of hassle. But by filling up this row here, I think you're getting another 7 or 8, I think, by stacking off grid. So, and you get to go and fill your tanks up again. See, the tanks are virtually empty there. Now we're just looking to fill up the tanks again. And then we shall be on our merry way. I think we're going to stick to just the big surface areas as it fills up faster. I also tend to not put my headlights on when I'm doing this. I find it a bit easier to see the scrape parts, so light up. And plus, I don't really want people knowing that I'm here. Put your lights on, you kind of stick out like a sore thumb. And we are in the vicinity of Pirate Central, so just over halfway full. 14 minutes left. Yeah, middle section's finally gone red. We're almost full. And we're done. With 10 minutes left, we're not coming back for anything there. It's time to unload and see what our plunder is. I mean, come on. These games, this game does look amazing. The ships look amazing. Space stations look amazing. The cities look amazing. I know you get a lot of, the developers get a lot of complaints, but I mean, seriously. This has got to be so much work to get all this stuff to work. It's incredible. Personally, I think they deserve a fair amount of credit for this. Come on, there we go. This you kind of want your bum fairly close to the cargo bay. You know what? I think it's time to use the Atlas. It's as chaotic as hell to use, but it's damn fast. Takes a bit of practice. I'm still a bit of a noob on the Atlas so far. Judging the distances is quite difficult at times as well. Yeah, as long as you get it close. Oops. This would have taken way longer if I was doing this by hand. But yeah, I think there's some value in it. But seriously, it will be available in game soon, I'm sure. Unless you want to buy it for the LTI token, which is what I did. I would just wait. But I will be probably using this to upgrade to the Asus when it comes out, and I will then be buying one of these in game. Fine. that. So, it's about the need to practice. Right, the last bit, the Atlas, is actually pretty useless. And we do need to operate by hand. Oh, no, that one. Come on. Wondering why I'm not using the Atlas for this bit is by the time I push the button on here, gotten out into the Atlas suit, it triggers the obstruction sensor, and you only seem to be able to get one box out at a time before the machine pauses because there's a box in its way. Right, that's all she wrote. Spectre load. I mean, come on, that's not a bad amount, is it? For a little Vulture. That's a lot of RMC. I think there's about 36 there. Send it down. Check that it actually arrived. 36. Okay. How much is 36 SCU of RMC? I hear you ask. Well, let's go find out. Sorry, had a brief visitor there for a second.
One craft, any mission. Corsair Industries
I actually live on a farm,
all-purpose tactical starliner chassis. From airborne assaults
a
to
working
supply
farm.
drops, the Hercules excels.
It's more like a zoo at times.
Standard for galactic transport on a massive scale. Contact the Crusader
Get lots of visitors.
The next shuttle is approaching the station. The next shuttle is approaching the station. Last call for passengers. The shuttle is preparing to depart.
Please clear the hatch. Shuttle will be departing. Approaching next station. If this is your stop, please prepare to disembark.
Last call for passengers. The shuttle is preparing to depart.
Yeah, quick shortcut that. Chronic lack of collision on that door these days. Okay. 682 at the moment. 26 there. So it's 356. With a 10 off grid. 137. I think that's all she wrote. So 356 and 137. That's not bad really, is it? As you can see, it's quite profitable, and that's just for one run. If you want to save up some money to buy some ships or anything like that, then yeah, salvaging is definitely a good way of doing that. If you compare it to things like cargo and other things like that, Yeah, you get a lot more for doing a lot less, I would say. So yeah, so it looks like about 500,000 each time you do a run like that. I am going to go out and do another one tonight. Just got a couple of bits and pieces to do here. I think terrible at saving money in this game. So we got 1.1 million. So minus the 150 grand I had to start with. I've basically earned just over $1 million by doing 2 salvage runs. So yeah, obviously a 500,000 a time. That obviously makes mathematical sense. Yeah, but that's just 2 runs. As long as you load your ship up, you know, as full of, you know, fill it up as much as you can, then you should be getting at least 500,000 a run. So 2 runs in a night. I mean, you can do 1 million an hour. So I mean, given with what ships actually cost, and I think you can get a Drake Cutlass for under 2 million. So it's a couple of hours work. Cutlass Black is a good ship.
A friendly reminder to check for your personal
Um,
belongings before and
You
after
can get yourself a
all shuttle
Vulture.
stops. And to dispose the next shuttle
I
is
don't know if you can
approaching
rent
the station.
Vultures at the moment or not. But it wouldn't surprise me if you can.
Last call for passengers. The shuttle is
But
preparing to depart.
let's just have a quick look. Oh, actually you can't. That's a real shame, isn't it? But yeah, there's plenty of other things you can do. You can do cargo runs. I mean, to buy a Vulture, you are looking at 2.646 million at the moment at Lawville. So yeah, I mean, once you get that, it's not, I mean, yeah, since they put the prices up for ships, it's gone up a lot. I think it used to be around 1.4. But yeah, 2.6 million is not a mega grind. It's perfectly manageable. But once you get one, and then, you know, a few hundred AUEC, I think, for the second abrade salvage head. A little bit more for a decent quantum drive. And yeah, you're good to go, really. And you can go pretty much anywhere in the Stanson system with it. On the next session, we're going to
The next
just
shuttle
go
is
out and
approaching the station.
see what we can find. I'm not going to head
Onwards
back there
in
just
Starlight
yet.
Shuttle service, we aim to make getting there half the fun. Please enjoy.
Next session, I think I'm going to head to Crew R1 just to see what I can find. See if we can find some salvage that's just abandoned
The next
ships.
shuttle is approaching the station.
You can salvage panels as well. There are lots of videos on how to find panels and things like that, but it's a bit of a mission. They don't always spawn, and you can spend a lot of time
Passengers, the shuttle is
looking
preparing to
and
depart.
not so much time scraping. Whereas with ships, you can spend most of that time scraping, because there's places where you know you're going to obviously get ships, like I have just now. And yeah, 500,000 straight out the bag. So yeah, salvaging is definitely a winner. It'll help you get those ships that you want in game for other things really quickly, help you buy lots of other stuff. I suggest giving it a go, and the Vulture is actually quite an awesome ship. It's got 12 SCUs of storage, so you can use it for other stuff. But yeah, I mean, Salvage is definitely for the win. But yeah, on that note, hey, yeah, how we doing? It's your boy cyberrascal again. We're going to get back out and get on with part 2 of the salvaging extravaganza. You saw from the last one that we did, I think we were doing about 500,000 a run. So yeah, we're going to see what's out there tonight, see what missions are available. Still suffering from the salvage bug. Went out yesterday to try and do some organic salvage before I made a video on it, and didn't go so well. Got chased down and had all my stuff taken. So yeah, decided to go with some heavier armor tonight. Yeah, I wasn't all that keen on the organic side of things. I mean, you can do it, but you do spend an awful lot of time searching and not so much time scraping. It's kind of similar to panels, but more searching than you do with the panels, I find. So yeah, we're going to jump aboard and see what's out there for us tonight. I often seem to come by ships by the outer markers, the OM points on around the planets, but whenever I do come across anything, I've never got the Vulture with me. I'm always in the wrong thing. So yeah, we'll keep our eyes open tonight. See what happens. See what missions we've got available. If there is anything easy, then it makes sense to go for it. We've got 7. Oh, there's a Hammerhead. That's a no-brainer. That's a full load. I know I did a Hammerhead for the last one, but they don't come up too often, so I suppose when they do, you got to take them. So let's go and grab that and try not to get killed this time.
You are clear to launch.
Uh-oh. Already? Ah, go away. That's exactly what happened to me the other night. Fortunately tonight I was able to get away with it. So hope he doesn't try and get me on the way back. Could be that blockade runner's running from Seraphim Station tonight. So it was probably a AI that was doing that anyway. The other night I got done by a player though. Had nothing on board. So at least I didn't lose that. All he got was my cheap yellow armour. Not sure what you guys think about the blockade runner missions. I did have a go at it last night, and didn't seem to be that much going on. Figured if it was going to be popular, it'd be popular on a Saturday night. And nobody, or at least on the server I was on, was really taking part. I know there's been a lot of bugs with the stuff not appearing, and when you do get rid of the stuff it doesn't earn you very much. Yeah, I found it a bit boring to be honest. Also been finding the servers incredibly buggy today. It's taken me quite a few attempts to be able to record again. Just getting to my personal hangar was a mission in itself. Unfortunately one I don't get paid for. But yeah, I don't know what's happened, but it's been kind of broken all weekend. Don't know if it's because they're running Blockade Runner and Evocati at the same time. Could be. do have a habit of running lots of things at once, making it miserable for everyone. And we do know how they like to skimp on their servers as well. They're saying that. I'm sure their server bill every month isn't exactly cheap. I will say is finding the right things to make content about that haven't already been covered a lot is actually quite difficult. Hence I'm just focusing on stuff that I know people will be, or I hope people will be interested in when it comes to making money easily. And how you can maximise that money. But having tried most things in the game, at the moment I think salvaging is the easiest, and these unverified missions seem to be the easiest part of salvage at the moment. You can jump on one of these hammerheads, get your money out, and then go and do the smaller stuff. You don't need the money so much. And I have been thinking about buying another ship, which I'm desperately trying not to do. Quite fancy a Sabre, but not one of the new ones. It's the original Sabre. Quite like it. Never owned one before. I don't know, tell me in the comments, what are your favourite ships? I know obviously it's horses for courses, so depending on what you do is heavily affects what ship you prefer. But what's your favourite ship in the whole game? So what's your favourite ship as a solo player, or what's your favourite ship as a multi-person group? Also, what ships do you like enough to actually pledge for? If you do, you are brave enough to make the pledge purchases. I don't have a lot of pledge purchases, but I've got a few. As you've seen from my last video, obviously I've got the Constellation Taurus, which I do like and have always liked. It is a really good all-round ship, and it's something that I've had for a very long time. It's my original pledge ship. Well, it's like so far at the end of my CCU chain for that, as it stands. I don't think I'd upgrade that at all. Quite like it. A ship I do really like though is the Valkyrie. I did have one that I bought in game a while ago, and then there was a patch update and they took it from me. And they took it from me just after they put the prices up. And the grind to get it back was just too much. I have absolutely no idea why they are charging so much money for that ship. I just liked it because of its connection with the Alien movies. Kind of a nostalgia thing. But functionally, I mean, it's... well, it has its uses as a dropship, but To be honest, I think you can make better drop ships out of other ships. Now that we can stick seats to our cargo grids and we can buy those seats, I mean, I think you could just fill the cargo bed with a Taurus or an Andromeda with as many seats as you need for your team or your org. You've got a ship with way more firepower than any of the drop ships, especially if it's an Andromeda. Way more shield protection, way more hull protection. I mean, if it's a Taurus, you can chuck a vehicle in the back as well. Time to move some boxes. Yeah, if it's a Taurus, you could put a number of vehicles in the back and have seats at the front for dropship purposes. And have some boxes there full of your supplies if you need to drop them out somewhere. I might have to try that at some point. Just curious to see how many drop seats you can get in a Taurus with a vehicle. See if you can get more than the Valkyrie's got. I mean, the Valkyrie's got 2 size 3 turrets on it. As in double turrets. And then you've got the 2 single ones on the outers, which I think are also size 3s. And then you've got the door gunners, which are the small ones. So I think those door gunners, just for protecting troops as they're dropping off, and ground troops, I think those are quite handy. But I mean, they're only affected against certain targets. Effective, even, against certain targets. But the Valkyrie just cannot take the beating that a Taurus or an Andromeda can take. Obviously the Andromeda's got the pilot-controlled weapons and missiles. Can't believe they didn't put any missiles on the Valkyrie. Terrible shame. Especially as the ship from Aliens that they modelled it on was certainly laden with missiles. But really, I think with the Valkyrie, those 2 single guns they've got on the wings, those should be pilot weapons, and they should ditch the turret option for those. To have 1 gun on either side isn't that effective. I mean, maybe against ground troops, but beyond that, kind of useless. If you turn them into pilot control weapons, you had at least 4 size 3s, like a Cutlass Black or a Cutlass Steel. Oops. That's all she wrote. But yeah, at least the Cutlass Steel's got the 4 size 3s. Pilot controlled, it's got missiles. And it's also got the 2 size 3 turret guns. If you're in the Andromeda, you've got 2 lots of turret guns. Similar format to the Valkyrie as well. 1 above, 1 below. So yeah, and it's obviously the Valkyrie is considerably more money, I think, than a Taurus or an Andromeda. That's considerably more money than most ships. I just don't see the value in it. The Prowler I quite like. That's actually quite cool. I think in terms of dedicated dropships, at the moment that's probably the best one. Still horribly overpriced though. I mean really, I think they should never have put the prices up for all the ships in the way that they did. I think they did that at the wrong time. I think they should have waited until the true persistence was there. There's people that have lost 890 jumps in patches. And who wants to do the in-game grind for that twice? And given the missions we've got available to do the grind with, I mean, painful enough the first time doing the same missions over and over again. But yeah, to lose an 890 jump in a patch for no reason, I mean that's kind of mean really. To be honest, I'd love to know what it is that happens during an update that causes people to lose ships in a patch. Because they say that you should make sure all the weapons are taken off the ships, all the add-ons that you put on them should be taken off, everything should be stored, make sure all your ships are delivered. For good measure, if I've got any ships that are still showing needing delivery, I get them delivered, I spawn them onto the pad, I jump in the ships just so it registers the use in the game. Whether that makes any difference or not, I have no idea, but I do it anyway. And some ships, I just between patches, don't get used at all. So I try and get them out, jump in them, fire them up, just so that they show as being functional in the game. There's probably a few other bits and pieces that people recommend so that you don't lose ships during patches. But even when I've done all that, I've still lost stuff. I lost the Valkyrie and my Cutlass Black in the same patch. And they gave me an Origin 315P instead of the Cutlass Black. Another thing I don't understand why they gave me that and not the Cutlass Black, but very random thing to happen. Yeah, I'll be very interested to see how the Valkyrie ends up after it's had a gold pass. I think that... Well, I'm assuming that's why they're charging so much money for it, because I think they've obviously got an idea for it. After they've done the gold pass, whatever that idea is, you would hope would make it worth that money. At least that's the only idea that I can come up with. Cutlass Steel. Money behind that. Why do they charge so much for that? I mean, yeah, it's got a bit more hull HP and it's a bit harder to kill, but I mean, you can take out the door gunners just as easily as you can take out somebody standing there with a gun. They're not exactly well protected. But yeah, just the ideology behind what they charge for certain ships just in some cases makes zero sense to me. Just think the drop ships are just at the top of that nonsensical pile. Yeah, what are your thoughts on ship pricing? What do you think about the Valkyrie and some of the other jump ships? And what you get for the money? I think out of all the ships so far, I've probably used the Cutlass Black more than anything else. So I only tend to use this when I'm doing salvaging like this. Although I do want to experiment with just using it as a multi-purpose ship at some point. It's just the firepower really sucks on it. I know it's getting a shield upgrade, I think, in the next update or two, but God, the guns are useless. Doesn't matter what guns you put on it either. The guy that took all my stuff the other day, I think, was in a Mantis. And I tried to fight it out with him. I got ballistic guns on there at the moment. Thought I'd try them out for a change. And I was just firing and firing and firing, and everything was hitting him, but it just wasn't doing any damage to him. Completely useless. I was given that it's only size 1 guns, there's just nothing you can put on there that has any impact. I think I have to just question the need for size 1 guns, full stop. I mean, if you got them on something like a Buccaneer where they're backed up by size 3s and then another size 4 on the roof, then together, you know, it just adds a bit more, but size 1 guns on their own? Like wing mirrors on a battleship. Don't see the point. It's like the Pisces could be an awesome little ship, but they've made it so weak. And yet again, more size 1 guns. I know these things are only shuttles and not designed to get into a fight, but I mean, a bit of a better shield. And some size 2s would be nice. I just think everything needs to be really thought out a bit better and needs a lot more balancing. And at the moment, everything seems to be going in completely the wrong direction. I read the Master Modes patch notes the other day, and well, I think like everybody, I know that Master Modes in itself, I mean, personally, I don't think it's too bad in itself, but making it slower, reducing the boost speeds by 30%. Might as well sort this one out. Well, at this rate, I think the new meta is going to be combat with EVA and railguns. Because you're going to travel faster in EVA than you can in a ship. People are going to be asking for countermeasures to be added to their heavy armour. But yeah, I mean, I understand what they're trying to do with master modes. Just think the way that they're testing and going about working out what people want. I mean, yeah, the surveys were a nice touch. It would have been nice if we could see the results from those surveys. It's in the name of transparency. But I think A1 came up with the idea. It's Avenger 1, for those of you that aren't familiar. I think they should present 2 options to test, or maybe even 3 options to test. Maybe do 3 different speeds in Arena Commander that people can try out. You know, see how many people gravitate to each one. You know, if everyone gravitates to the slower flight model and they prefer it, then that's what the majority wants, then fair enough. I think that's all she wrote. Don't like to squeeze more than that in there. Because I don't like being away from my radar for too long. Bit paranoid after the other night. Yeah, I just think they should give people options and test out multiple options. They've done it with things in the past, if I remember rightly. It doesn't want to scrape that bit, does it? I also think it would be a nice idea if they actually put a panel together of you know, people from different communities. I think things like Master Mode doesn't just affect combat, it affects everybody. Because even this ship I'm using now is affected by Master Modes. If I need to get away in a hurry now, Master Modes makes that really difficult. Well, having to move into Nav Mode does. I've got chronic lack of firepower and chronic lack of shields. It's something with big guns, they're going to take me out. And I'm going to lose all my RMC. Speaking of which... let's be slightly prepared for that moment. Yeah, it does. It affects everybody, and those flight models affect everybody. I mean, do non-combat ships, like a Vulture, do they need to have the whole Master Modes thing? Could they not exist by different rules? And that could be an option to look at. I'm just spitballing, but I mean, when you're in a ship like an Argo Raft or a Vulture or something like that, you're never going to be using it for combat, any way, shape or form. So then when you consider the reason why they decided to bring master modes into the game, does that apply to those ships? And when they want to have these World War II style dogfights, does that apply to a Vulture? Does it apply to an Argo Raft? Maybe one size fits all isn't the right thing to do. Maybe different rules for different classes of ships should be something they could look at. I don't know. Interested to hear everybody else's thoughts on it though. Quite interested to watch Citizen Con though. Seems to be things going on with this year's one. Are different to others. Cool if Mark Hamill turns up. Always liked him. Cool if Gary Oldman turns up. Definitely always liked him. Awesome actor. Can't even believe that they've got him as one of the characters, to be honest. Currently watching a TV drama with Gary Oldman in called Slow Horses. Totally recommend watching it. Get a chance, he's brilliant in it. Highly amusing as well. Such an incredible actor, he really is. I don't think I've ever not liked a single film that he's been in. Yeah, Slow Horses is very good. If you haven't seen it, totally recommend it. Almost completely full. Also interested to see how things go with the engineering gameplay. Still can't make my mind up on that. It's going to change everything, I think, especially for some of the solo players. I mean, it's great, it gives you the opportunity to repair a ship. I think for a lot of people, fiddling about with fuses will just be the last thing you do before you get killed. But hey, at least you tried. Right, we're done. Well, is it me, or is it a bit foggy? No, it's just me pointing in the wrong direction. But it's also a bit foggy, it's raining. I find with this, it's all about positioning. You've got to keep finding the optimal place to stand so you don't get messed up by the depth of field type situation. It's really hard to judge depth in this game. Still 20 minutes left on the Hammerhead. I don't think we're going to bother though. I'm sure you guys have seen enough Hammerhead salvaging to last you a lifetime already. done. I mean, not too shabby, really. But it was going to lose it there for a second. Yeah, so we've got 37 on that one. And they're 14,000 each, I believe. It's for like a decent amount of money. I think 170, 180. It's enough. So it's 518,000 in total. Sorry, my maths is shit. Oh shit. I need a drink, don't I? Literally borderline dying here. That constant drive spinning up all the time is so annoying. We're up to what, 1.7 million so far. Andromeda. But you can see there's the unverified missions will put money in the bank. And I think out of all of the ships so far, the two most useful ships in the game, in my humble opinion, probably the Cutlass Black and the Vulture. Between those two ships you can do so much stuff. And obviously having the Vulture gives you the money to buy whatever the hell you want. But in terms, if you're a new player, if I was starting again, I think I would probably get the Avenger Titan game package. Which isn't a huge amount of money. But I mean, getting to the Avenger Titan, if you were going to go for bare minimum, like a Cutter or an Aurora or something really cheap. I mean, just doing package delivery missions in an Aurora will get you enough money to upgrade. Plus you can go off and do bunker missions and stuff like that, sell the armour. With the Aurora you can put a 1 SCU box on the back, or I think even more, you can put a 2 SCU I think on the back. And yeah, I mean, just selling armour, selling weapons, stuff like that. I mean, that'll get you up to a cargo ship. And then you can chain together some cargo missions. And yeah, initially it's a bit of a grind, but I think if you're a brand new player, having that initial grind is what teaches you to play the game. When it used to be the case that package delivery missions would teach you the basics of how to play, where everything is, what components you need to have in order to go the distances that you need to go to get different missions. You know, learning all the components. You know, these early starter stuff, I mean, later on in the game you might look at it and think it's a waste of time, or a lot of people may. But as a new player, those are the things that I find really sort of teach you how to play. And then once you progress, then you move up. But I mean, you really don't need to spend loads of money, you know, with loads of real money to get places in this game. I mean, if you're prepared to put the grind in, then yeah, I mean, most ships are within your grasp. I mean, the really big ships, I mean, let's face it, once all the engineering and everything comes into play, if you're not a big group of like friends, or you're not part of an org, then to most people they're completely useless. So I mean, having to find the money to buy those big ships, it's not something you ever really need to worry about. All the ships that you realistically want to use in the game to be an effective player are totally affordable with in-game credit. You know, if it's an org splitting the cost of a Perseus or a Hammerhead or one of the big ships between them, then, you know, they all chip in. Then, you know, if they were going to pay with real money, then it would sort of make sense. But obviously one account has to hold it, so there could be issues with that. But even so, if they, you know, these ships will eventually be available in game, and they can chip together with AUEC and buy them and have them in their org personal hangar. We'll see they've all got access to it then. If the guy whose name it's in ends up being hated by everybody in the org and he doesn't run it with the ship, that could be an issue. Maybe joint ownership of stuff in the game. Maybe having an org account would be something that would be useful for orgs. And then the org accounts actually hold all the ships. That would be interesting. I've always wondered why CIG don't have their own org as well. You'd think that they would have an org, just so that we can watch them get their asses handed to them by one of the other orgs. If they went org versus org battles, that would be amusing. I think those events would inspire them to play the game more often and be better at it. plus also understand all the org mechanics that they're constantly developing. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Should CIG have their own org? Should they take part in org events? Should there be an org event system? That would be good. Could we have a bookies in Star Citizen so we can place bets on who's going to win? That would be good. But yeah, it's an awful lot to think about. But being Star Citizen, it's sky's the limit, or the stars are the limit. Who knows what's around the corner? I'm not going to do any organic salvage tonight because I want to try and figure that out a bit more rather than putting you guys through the painstaking time of watching me trying to figure it out. I need to work out where all the bits and pieces are. Oh, shush, will you? Yeah, I need to work out where all the bits and pieces are. Also, I mean, it's also exciting to go and figure these things out for yourself. You know, you've seen what the Vulture's capable of, you've seen what you can earn in RMC. You can also crunch the ships, which is something I tend to never bother with. If you aren't sure how to do that, then on my key settings it's right Alt and W to break the ships up, and then right Alt and S to suck them all in. But it fills up your tank straight away and it's not worth very much. So yeah, it makes sense to focus on the RMC unless you're doing the verified salvage missions, in which case some of the ships that you come across will have cargo in them. Quite often in amongst that cargo will be quantanium. So if you do get the option to take the quantanium, then you should, because it's usually worth more than the RMC. That's the only reason it's worth taking. But I mean, I haven't done it for a while, but when I was doing salvage missions with friends, we used to line up quite a few of them, take on maybe 5 or 6 missions or more, and we would have somebody go around with a C2 and empty all of the cargo out all of the ships while we were scraping the various different ships. And we did try taking some of the salvageable components off of them, but at the moment it's just not worth anything. Your handheld guns and things seem to be worth more money than the ship guns in a lot of cases at the moment, and components can be a nightmare to sell. So that side of it just isn't really there yet, but I think it will be awesome when it is. With the new engineering gameplay, it will make sense to go and salvage that stuff and keep spares of everything. So if you do go out on a mission, you can take a spare power unit with you, or, you know, spare coolers, spare quantum drives, all that sort of stuff, spare weapons, whatever it turns out that we need to replace on them, which is obviously still being brought into the game. We're going to have some new components coming up. There's going to be life support systems, so that'll be another module of some kind, I'm sure. Maybe even gravity generators as well. There could be lots. Possibly even fire extinguishers could be useful to have in large amounts. I don't know how long they last, the fire extinguishers, if they don't ever run out or what, but we're going to be finding out all this stuff fairly soon, I think. Yeah, I think once that mechanic's in the game, then the salvaging will be infinitely more interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's whatever you like. You know, obviously every person's different. You know, different people like different aspects of the salvage process. You know, lots of people like doing mining. Lots of people hate mining. It just depends, but I think the good thing about Star Citizen is that there's sort of, or there's going to be something for everybody is the best way to put it. At the moment it's a bit spotty. But yeah, I think, you know, the not too distant future, once things get sort of ironed out a bit more, and definitely once we get server meshing, I think that will change the game between server meshing, fully persistent environment, and everything that goes with that. I think we'll have a lot more players on a server, or in an environment, should I say, which means you're going to have a lot more ships that are abandoned. There'll be a lot more targets to go and salvage. I think you know, having more density in general will just make everything better for everyone. You know, PvP will be more exciting, so there'll be more people to take part in PvP against or with. You know, the events will become more exciting, so there'll be more people involved in them. You won't be like I was the other night, trying to do Blockade Runner all by yourself. And yeah, it'll just be more interesting, and I think the feel that you'll get in game will be a lot more interesting as well. You know, it'll actually feel busy. You'll see lots of other players around you rather than just be surrounded by NPCs standing on tables, which is still a thing, I might add. I noticed as you come into the shuttle port at August Dunlow, they're standing on everything but the floor. So yeah, they've definitely not fixed that, much as they claim to have. So yeah, the NPCs need work, but in general I'm finding it better. I did some bunker missions before, getting your gun out, aiming, shooting, you know, all of that seems a lot more fluid than it did before. The NPCs seem to react more quickly at the moment, so I mean they are heading in the right direction with that stuff. But like everything, it's going to take time. This game is absolutely enormous, and it's going to be a hell of a lot bigger very soon. And I think that a lot of people, you know, they forget, you know, the differences that the size of this game actually makes, you know, on everything. And you know, you compare it to other games that are out there, they just don't have this level of detail. Even some of the really big games that are out there don't have this level of detail, and you know, just not on scale that's anywhere near the scale that this is on, and the scale that this will be on in the future. So it'd be nice if they could get through things a bit quicker, but you know, it's really hard to make assumptions and, you know, to be judgmental until you've walked a mile in a Star Citizen developer's shoes, because God knows what they have to deal with. God knows what problems they come up against every day. You know, how are they affected by, you know, orders that are thrust upon them from the very top, should we say. You know, I've worked in environments like that before, where you've got bosses making decisions, you know, that they don't really understand, you know, the outcome of. You know, you have a lot of people that, you know, in the chain of command that have to make decisions, and things that seem like a good idea at the top of the chain aren't always, you know, seen as a good idea by the people that are actually putting these things into practice. Just like some of the people lower down the chain make decisions that aren't accepted by the community or the players. You know, it's the same problem all the way up the chain, I think. You know, when it is a problem, it's often a very annoying one. But these things happen. This is how companies operate. It happens in every company. You know, I've worked for quite a few companies in my life where I've seen all sorts of problems like that. You know, I've spoken to all kinds of people that have experienced problems like that in companies that they've worked for. There's a lot going on. You know, there's a lot of things that when people are complaining about the game that they don't really take into consideration. And obviously if you haven't experienced those kinds of environments, you haven't worked in the gaming industry, you know, it's kind of hard to understand what's involved. I mean, I've had some experience with game development. Not a lot, but I've had a bit, and I've got a lot of friends that work in the industry. And I just hear some of the horror stories that they tell me. You know, I've had friends that have worked for companies like Epic Games and stuff like that. And, you know, when you see it from a different perspective, you know, it does tend to change a lot. And there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that a lot of people just aren't aware of. The process takes a lot longer to get from A to B to C to D than people, you know, give it credit for. And, you know, mistakes happen, you know, and I think it's important, you know, how those mistakes are dealt with after the fact. Just like when you buy something from the shops, you know, where you buy a PC component. It's not all about the thing that you buy, it's how good is the support if it goes wrong. You know, a lot of these things need to be taken into consideration. But all in all, I mean, I don't think people should give Star Citizen Devs too hard a time because, yeah, this is a very difficult task that they've got. And this game is, in my opinion, groundbreaking. And, yeah, it's going to take some time. And, you know, it's not like there's other models out there that are like this. I mean, there's similar stuff like Eve, but you know, none of those games have this level of detail. And once you start to make things more complex by including that detail, it changes everything, and that cascades up and down the whole chain. So, yeah, I think people need to consider those facts. But yeah, you know, if you are new, I hope you do enjoy it. You know, I hope you're able to get your friends interested in it. It's something that I've struggled with in the past, mainly because the majority of the times I've tried to involve friends in this game, it's been during really buggy phases of the game. And then once they have a bad experience, getting them back in again is like herding cats. But I'll get there one of these days. But yeah, I think that's going to be our video for tonight. Hope you don't mind all the opinions and the ideas. I think it's good to have a chat about these things and to think about these things. But yeah, I'm really keen to know all your opinions. So please do, you know, put whatever you like in the comments, good or bad. If you hate what I'm saying, you know, I don't mind. Tell me. Think my channel sucks? Tell me. I'm happy to make changes where I can and improve it where possible, within reason. But yeah, you know, what are your thoughts? What are your opinions on this game? I'm really curious to know. I like to have conversations with people on these topics and see what they think about all of this. What do they think about the scale of Star Citizen and the direction that it's heading in? You know, is there any other stuff out there that I've not experienced that you have, that is similar to this? Very keen on, you know, exploring other titles that have anything like this going on in them. I love sci-fi games. I love sci-fi in general. Always have. Is there anything else like this out there? I have played Elite Dangerous. I actually bought Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen at the same time and started playing them both, so I couldn't decide which one I wanted to play. And it wasn't long before I gravitated towards Star Citizen and away from Elite Dangerous. It was the not being able to leave your ship aspect of Elite Dangerous that kind of killed it for me. Although the rest of it is still a very, you know, it's a really good game. I don't want to put it down. There's lots of people that do enjoy it, and it's just me personally, I like the aspect outside the ship as much as I do the aspect inside the ship. I like to have a ship that I can walk around as well. It's just, it's nice. But yeah, tell me what you think. You know, really keen to know. I've said it before, this is a, as you can see, a new channel. I've decided to take the leap of faith and see if I can be successful running a YouTube channel. Seeing as I'm always playing this game and putting the time into it. And obviously I like to talk to people about these things. I'd like to get my viewpoints across. So yeah, I thought I'd start a channel, give myself an opportunity to do all that. Obviously to give other people the opportunity to take part in that conversation as well if they so wish. But yeah, you know, give us a like and a subscribe, hit the bell icon and all that. Does help with the algorithm, the dreaded YouTube algorithm that everybody hates, but yeah, it's a necessary evil. Yeah, the more successful I can get with this channel, you know, the more it'll enable me to do and create within this channel. And helps me make it more interesting for everyone that's watching it. So yeah, on that note, I bid you all farewell. Hope you have an excellent day, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And yeah, let's talk.